not about you becoming Commonwealth champion or going to the Olympics or all of that. It's about just finding something that makes you happy and your thing that you feel empowered and you walk out there and you feel like a bad bitch. That's what I want to make you feel like.
Let's get straight into dropping some facts about how game-changing your career is. Not only are you one of the most successful British weightlifters of all time, the whole of history, you are Commonwealth champion, European champion, double world champion medalist, and you were the first British female weightlifter to win a medal at the Olympics with a silver medal in Tokyo 2020/21. You really did have to get to the Tokyo Olympics the hard way. You had no lottery funding like many athletes do. How difficult was it to make your Olympic dream a reality? And what kind of sacrifices did you have to go through in order to do that?
Yeah, it was tough. I'm not going to lie. I still lived at home for a start, when you're 27 and you're still living at home with the rent. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got very, very nice parents and I do get on with them very well. But, when you're training and you're like exhausted every single day and they don't quite understand why you are like you are and you just look like you're being lazy when you come back from training because all you want to do is like sleep and die after you've been training. But I had to rely on them a lot financially for stuff. Essentially they paid to feed me every single day. They obviously housed me and all the rest of it, and then obviously I had to work. So I had a job pretty much up until the pandemic, until I couldn't work anymore. And that was to put fuel in my car, to pay for supplements, to pay for everything else that came with it. And then it's just finding the time, obviously, because when you get to a level of an elite athlete, when you get to a certain level, it's all about the 1%. You've trained for years, you've done everything you need to do, but then it's like, how do I find that extra 1% to up that person, that other person in the world? How do I do that? And then when you are training and then working, then you've hardly got any time for recovery. You're going to bed at later times than you need to be. You're not getting as much rest because then you've got to be up again in the morning to do the same thing. And yeah, it wasn't easy. But then at the same time, when people ask me all about it, do you wish it was different? No, I don't wish it was different, because you know what? It made me the person that I am, and it made me the athlete that I am, and it made me never to realise to rely on anybody or anything for anything, and that if you want anything bad enough, you will make it happen. Like, British Weightlifting sat us down at the beginning of the Olympic cycle in Tokyo and said, we haven't got any funding as an organisation. You're going to have to raise 10 grand to qualify for the Olympics. But it was my dream to go to the Olympics. And I was like, straight away, it hit me hard. It blew me. And I thought, how am I going to manage this? I can't afford 10 grand. My parents can't afford 10 grand. It's not, my parents have supported me every way they can, but they can't just pick 10 grand out the year. And I was like, you know what? You make this happen. And I did, and I went back, and my parents and my sister helped me, and we wrote emails and we sent them out to companies, and I went round and I did things, and I picked up extra work and I did whatever, and I paid for that first Olympic qualification competition. I did it. I raised 2.5 grand and I paid for it, and I made sure I went. And every time I achieved something like that, it just made me realize that the sky is the limit.
As a part of that process, you have become such an incredible role model, I think, for body positivity in sport and beyond. Seeing you out there competing as a strong woman is so empowering. And I love this quote that you said just after you won the silver medal at the Olympics. You said, I don't look like a typical athlete, but what my body does is amazing. And what your body does is incredible. What do you want to stand for as a role model?
I just want to prove to everyone that the fitness industry for a while has been very, tunnel visioned and been very it's a very elite space, and you only have to be a certain person or look a certain way to be a part of it. And it's not. Fitness and health is about life. It applies to every single person walking on this planet. And it doesn't matter if you like sport or you hate it or whatever. You have to be healthy. This is about you wanting to live a long life and be able to play with your grandkids in the garden and run around and be healthy. And that's what it's about. And I just want to be a person that stands there and goes, yes, you might not look like everybody else. And yes, some people might have something to say about how you look and how you portray yourself. But you have to do things for you. In life, we have to be selfish sometimes. And we have to think about ourselves, our self-worth and our self-care. And part of that is being unapologetically you. and it doesn't matter what shape and size you come in. And I also think that hopefully, I don't think we've had girls as big as me being in sport before because they haven't had the representation. They haven't seen girls at a top level look like me. And that's why I wanted to be that person that looks like me, to say, we can make it up here. I know you haven't seen people up here, but we do exist. And I think that is going to encourage more and more girls that think, oh, I haven't got abs, or I don't look like this, or I don't look like that, to be able to get involved in sport and find their true potential.
What kind of negative perceptions do you think still really persist around strong women from your experience? And looking back at your experience, have there been some moments that have really taken you back and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe you think that, or you perceive me in that way?
Yeah, some of the things that people are still searching, one of the top ones was, can I be strong and feminine? And, it blows your mind because you think, is that even a question? And obviously to me, that's like not even a question, because I'm like, yeah, I might be a big girl, but I'm still good looking. Like, come on, like the two things don't go hand in hand. Just because you're big, it doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden ugly. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, but we still seem to want to tie the two together. Yeah, but sometimes it does blow my mind, because I think we still have so many like old ideologies of what a strong woman is, and and all of a sudden, if we're that strong and we can lift that much weight, then we must have had assistance to help us. We couldn't have done that naturally. We must have took drugs, or we must have done this, and it's just, and that's the kind of area that's why women don't want to step in there. They don't want to feel comfortable, because a lot of women don't feel comfortable anyway stepping into a gym environment. And then if they do step into a gym environment and they do better themselves and they get themselves healthy, they get everything thrown at them, but they couldn't have just done that properly, and they couldn't have just done that for themselves. It's got to be for other people, or it's got to be for this. And I think that's what does deter women a lot from obviously being in the gym. You most men go to the gym and they don't want to impress girls. They want to impress other men in the gym. Like, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, but they do, They go to the gym, they want to get strong because they want the biggest boy in the gym to come and tell them that they're hench. And then they feel great for the day and they go home with a smile on their face, And it's all celebrated within the male community, and especially within weightlifting as well, Super heavyweight men, they get championed and they're like, oh, they're so amazing and they're so strong and blah, blah, blah. But, they're just as overweight as us, if not more overweight. But the women, we're out of shape, we're fat, we've had too many burgers, we're this, we're that, and the famous one is, oh, did she just about lift her body weight? And we're nowhere near as oppressive as the other girls because we don't look like they want us to look. And it's just, it's really, really heart-wrenching sometimes, because I think I'm obviously doing all of this work to try and get rid of that. But then, we still do have an overwhelming part of, the community in society that still have these views, and, sometimes won't even be changed as well. So I think that's a hard battle. But, for me, it doesn't bother me. Like, if you're going to take time out your day to say those things to me, then, you need to have an evaluation about your life. But, I want to try and work to make sure that other females can start feeling like me and feeling like they are empowered and feel like they can do whatever they want. And if they want to run for an hour, or if they want to go and lift weights for an hour, or if they want to do, dance or whatever, that they can go and do that, and that nobody is going to stop them from doing it.
But it's such an important battle to fight, because I was reading so much research into this, and basically strength training has so many benefits for women's bodies that people are just not aware of. And it's like strength training can support bone density, it can help lower your risk of osteoporosis, it can help you actually live longer. And it's kind of sad that this message isn't pushed out more, because to have a thing that has so many benefits for your well-being, your strength, and not have people talking about that and pushing that agenda is really sad.
This is the message that we need to be sending out to people, that you're going to live a better, healthier, happier life if you do some form of strength training. And you're right, that's the message that should be sent out, not the message that, all the negative things that come with it. But I just think with anything in life, aren't you, like you said, I'm going to continue to push the message, because you're always going to have people that are going to bring the negative narrative, or you're going to have the people that obviously want to bring it down. But I do think that we are getting further. We are moving on, and a lot of people are starting to see the importance in it now. And I just can only hope that it will just continue to grow, and hopefully I can be, a pioneer of that.
There is still such a massive problem in sport with the way that women's bodies are policed by media. I saw this amazing Nike campaign where it was talking about, if we run faster, they question us. If we lift higher, they question us. What still really frustrates you about the way that women's bodies are policed in sport?
Do you ask men if they've planned their outfit before they come out? No. They put the best possible kit on that's going to help them perform the best. And that's exactly what women do. But yet, it's all about the aesthetics of what outfit they're wearing, or, you know. And don't get me wrong, I love people, you know, talking about my hair and stuff and whatever. But again, it's like lots of questions about, oh, did you do your hair today? Or what makeup did you wear today? That is absolutely no relevance to me lifting weights at all. You know, but this is the questions, instead of asking us proper questions about our performance and how we've trained hard and how we've been where we are, they want to ask superficial questions about the way we look, because we're still obsessed with the aesthetics of women. And I think that is one of the biggest problems in the media, that they're still, instead of thinking outside the box, they're still trying to feed people that they've been feeding for so many years. You know, there's no evolution within, you know, what used to happen back in the day. And I think that's just really frustrating, I think, for us females, because we do have to prepare ourselves when we go into media, because we all have jokes about it. We go, what stupid questions do you think we're going to get today? Because we know we're going to get it. But the men don't have to think about that. They're going to be asked about how hard they've trained and, you know, how tough their training block been and, you know, how they performed out on the court today. You look so athletic, you look so strong, you look this. But ours is, you know, the complete opposite.
Weightlifting is also such a game-changing sport in itself. And I mean, at the Tokyo Olympics, it made history by there was the first openly transgender athlete to compete in an individual event, the Summer Olympics. And whilst there's so much negativity around trans athletes, it's amazing that USA Powerlifting recently ruled that trans women could also compete in the sport in a landmark case. I was just wondering, like, how proud are you to be in a sport that is pushing sport into the future and embracing inclusivity?
Oh, absolutely. This is the thing. We need to be moving forward. We need to be moving in this direction. And, you know, we're also, you know, having conversations on a British level now about how we can include and how things can move forward within that. And, you know, it's a hard one because, you know, the research is not there, and that, you know, we need to move together holistically as a whole brand, and, you know, get there so that we can get the right research, that we can make sure that everybody's happy and everything is fair and everybody's included. And, you know, and it's exciting times. It's exciting times to see where it will go, how we can do it and how we can do it properly. And, you know, we've had conversations with people that are in that space, that are, you know, giving us the hard, honest truth, you know, because it's very easy for us to sit here, you know, it's very easy as men to sit there and talk about what women need, and it's very easy for, you know, women to sit there and talk about what men need, or people of trans or, you know, LGBTQ community. It's very easy when you're not in that community to sit there and say what people need. So we've had very extensive conversations with people within the community about what they would like to see or how they would like to be included and how things would like to work. And, you know, we're working on a format at the moment that hopefully we'll be able to launch soon that allows people of LGBTQ to be involved in weightlifting. And
also, we're still pushing to actually get the research into women's bodies in sport as well. And that is a whole other level of work that still needs to be done. And when people are crying out about, for instance, like trans athletes, I'm like, okay, hold on. Did you know there's literally zero research into how periods affect women's sport and performance? They're like, no. And I'm like, hello? Like,
yeah.
Get out there, do the research and campaign for the research for everyone to be able to be involved in sport.
The amount of research in strength athletes is minimum. And then strength athletes in women is just even more, like it's like a pin in the haystack. You know, when we was working towards, so I competed in the World Championships in Colombia, and the Nike NRSL team really helped me, you know, get there, because their altitude is pretty extensive, so we had to do some work into it. And, you know, the research on strength athletes in altitude competing was like minimal, like so minimal. We couldn't even find, like, you know, how essentially it would affect my body and stuff and whatever. And like you said, you know, research into periods, and, you know, even now when we're like medication for periods or like contraception and stuff like that and whatever, like we're still in an era where we have to investigate if we're even allowed it as an athlete, you know. And these are things that, you know, we should be able to allow, but then not essentially we can always have it, because, you know, the research is not there to prove that it's essential. So, you know, like you said, we're still fighting for even those things, you know, before we even move on to, you know, a wider pool of research. So yeah, that's it. That's the start. We need to just get researching. We need to get some hard evidence out there, and then people can actually start making some informed decisions.